Hi, my name is Terri Sproul, and I want to welcome you to my studio. Tonight is our Tuesday night live class. Tonight we're going to kind of expand on what we did last week. Last week I talked to you all about pastels, and that's all we did, and it turned out to be a beautiful page. Tonight I'm going to take those pastels and take it just a little further, and we're going to use charcoal. This is a really cool effect. You're really going to like what you're going to get out of this. It's really fun. If you are joining me live, remember, if you have a question for me, put your question in caps so that I see it. I do have Joe here helping me out tonight also. He will be putting up the links. We're not doing a whole lot of links. Most of the stuff I got tonight I actually bought at Dick Blick's. So you can get everything that we're using tonight at Dick Blick's. That's my blog right there. Have all of the links also tomorrow morning on my blog, like every Tuesday. If you are not watching this live and you're watching it on my YouTube channel at a later date, give me a thumbs up for starters, and please join me on a live night so you can ask questions. If you do ever have questions on any of my old videos, you can join my group in Facebook called All Things Terri Sproul, and I'll be glad to answer your questions for you. Okay? Okay, so let's get switched over to the other camera and get going. And also, let me turn off my little logo. Bye, logo. And I'm going to switch cameras. Oh, you guys are going to be so happy with me. I got my camera working. I got the... See, look, I can zoom in again. Yay! Thanks for being patient with me on all that. It was kind of crazy that I didn't have that working right away, but I finally got it working. So thank you for that. Okay. Tonight we're starting with a brand new journal because I filled up the last one. So I actually wanted to show you the journal without the cover on it. And it is a Cottonwood Arts cold press notebook. They call it a notebook. I call it a journal. I buy these at Dick Blick's. Absolutely love them. So I would strongly suggest that they are really, you know, a nice journal. So if you are looking for a good journal, this is a really good one. Okay, trying to move my camera here. Okay, what I like about this journal, again, you can get it at Dick Blick's. Throw that away. It has a little, you know, thing to close it. And they lie flat. See how it lies flat? And the pages are nice and thick, and they also lie flat for you. Okay, so we're going to work on a brand new page tonight. First thing I want to do is just get some color in the background. I want to get some color in the background, so I'm just going to go with a nice pale yellow in the background for us. Again, if you have a question, remember to put them in caps. A little bit about my day. I had a wonderful day today. I got to spend some time, and Chris is actually here tonight. Thank you, Chris. I've seen that you're in the room. I got to spend time with a new friend of mine. His name is Chris. He lives here on the mountain, and this man is absolutely amazing. He is one of those guys that can carve things out of wood. Oh, I'm just so jealous of his talents. And I'm going to show you here in a minute while this dries what we worked on today. Now, I did not gesso my page, mainly because these journals really don't need the pages gessoed, because that's one of the reasons I really like this journal, is because the reason it doesn't need to be gessoed is because the pages are really, really thick, and I've never had a problem with any bleed through. I'm having problems with this paint. I guess I need some more. It's running out and getting thick on me. Okay, so let me get that on there, and I'll show you what we've been doing, me and Chris did today. It's still got a lot of work to do, and I'm going to try to do a little of it myself. It should turn out interesting. But I want to go back down and visit Chris and enjoy his studio. Oh, what a magnificent studio. Okay. Getting color on the background here. This is just a real pale yellow. Okay, perfect. So while that dries, let me show you. Where did I set it down? What me and Chris did today. Now this has got a lot of work to do still, but we started making this mask. Isn't that awesome? And this is made out of balsa wood. See that? Isn't that awesome? I can't wait till this is done. I'm so excited. Okay, this is drying up. And while this dries, I want to show you the technique that we're going to do tonight. We're going to do a charcoal technique. And this particular owl was done with that charcoal technique. And it really softens and does some really cool stuff. And this is this owl was done with it. And this owl was done with the charcoal. So I want to show you how that works. Okay, this should be dry enough by now. Let me take my gun to it just to dry a few more spots. Pretty close to being dry, but I got this one spot right here that doesn't want to dry. It's okay, I'm going to work on the other side anyways. I'm going to turn this to me for just a second because I want to draw out my feather. Tonight, obviously we can't do something as big as the owl because that took me hours to do. But we're going to do something real simple. So I'm just going to do a simple feather. So I'm just using a regular pencil here. And I'm going to put draw a simple feather. Nothing fancy. All of you can do this. And I do have a winner tonight also. And they will be taking home this pan pastel for us from last week's. Okay, so there's my simple feather. Okay, real simple. I just did a really light drawing of the feather, nothing fancy. Okay, now I'm going to go in with some acrylic paints, and I'm actually going to start painting the feather. So I got some colors out here. I got a red. This is one of my favorites. It's called Gold Green. This is just a red, yellow, a blue, and that probably should be good. Now I want to kind of do a wash with my acrylics, so I'm going to get them very wet. Okay, hold on here, guys. Let me move all this over so you guys can see. There we go. And I can actually paint upside down, so let me go ahead and let it go upside down. So I'm going to take and get my brush wet, starting with a wet brush, and water. So I'm going to actually get my paints very wet because I kind of want to do a wash with these paints, like I said. So I'm spraying a lot of water down there. I'm getting them real wet. Now we talked about that before, about when you water down paints, that you don't want to water them more than about 30%. If you need them a little watered down even more, that's where you would go in with your fluid matte medium. So if I wanted to water that down more, I could take the fluid matte medium and the and some water and add those two together. So I'm just adding some color here. I'm getting the blue on, so I'm just adding color to my feather as we go down. Lots of people in the room. Again, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys showing up. So again, I'm just getting some color down. Cleaning my brush in between. And I'm trying to actually let them blend somewhat because they're not drying in between. So we got a real simple design going there. And again, I can get it a little wet again, and that'll help blend the colors, especially if I clean my brush off. Let them become one. So the red and the blue will make purple, and the yellow and the blue will make green, and you know, they'll just become colors together, which is so nice. Okay, there we go. So again, this is just real basic acrylic paints, nothing fancy. Oh, let me turn Facebook off so it's quits doing that little blinking thing. There we go. I'm just adding color. Letting it blend. Okay, I like that. I'm going to let that dry. While that's drying, I am going to go in and take this acrylic and just use the curve right there, because I want to do some words over here on this side. So I'm going to take a pencil again and just put my curves in. And I'm only doing this right now because that's got to dry a little bit before I can go on. So I'm just letting it dry. Okay, cool. And I'm going to speed it up with the, sorry about that, heat gun. Okay, now we talked about this last week. Remember when I was talking about the fact that when you use pastels, either pan pastels or soft pastels, that you need that artist word called tooth, which, remember we learned last week, all it means is you need something that feels almost like sandpaper. This is a really smooth journal. If I tried to put pastels or anything on here, or even the charcoal, which is what we're going to do next, it would basically just kind of fall off because it has nothing to grab onto. So that artist word, that big fancy word in the world, is tooth. You can do that with either clear gesso, sorry about that glare, clear gesso, which is what I'm going to use tonight, or you could use something called ground for pastels. And Golden makes it, and you can find that again in the you know, the Golden Products area at Michael's or even Dick Blick's. But it is a ground, which is another one of those big fancy words. It just basically means it's the base of your page. You know, primer. It's almost like a primer. So in this case, the clear gesso is going to give us the tooth that we need for this technique. So that's completely dry. I'm going to grab my clear gesso and I just pour it onto my sheet. Or this can be done on a canvas. So this, you know, same technique can be done on a canvas. Now I'm going to use fancy credit card, room key, whatever you want to do.
That's my room key.
It probably is your room key from one of those rooms we shared. And what I'm doing is I want to get this this clear gesso on my whole background. So I'm just taking the credit card, room key, whatever you want to use, and just getting it on the background.
And you can use a paintbrush too.
You could, but honestly, this gives you a you don't get any paintbrush marks by using this, and it kind of does give you a thinner coat because you really don't need a thick coat. So yes, you could use, as the voice behind the camera is saying, you could use a paintbrush, but I like to use the credit card. And then you can really get off all the lines. And it'll dry really quickly because it is really thin. Now, if you are doing this on a canvas, it's really important that you look to see, and like if I move my piece of paper here or my canvas, I can see that I missed getting gesso right there. So make sure you move and look to see that you got gesso or the ground, whatever material you're using for your tooth, over your whole background, or it really will stand out if you don't. So make sure that this, I guess what I'm saying is this particular part that we're doing right here is very important to make sure that you get it completely covered everywhere. And it looks like I did, so I think I'm good. Because if you don't, it really will show in this next step that we do. Now, at this step, this has to dry also. You gotta make sure your clear gesso is completely dry. And I know it looks a little milky right now, but when gesso dries, it does dry completely clear. So I am going to just get this dry. And you need to have it dry before you put the charcoal on. So make sure you're dry, not just partially dry, but dry. Really important. Okay, Laura asked, while this is drying, how do I win a prize? You win a prize by putting a, you watch my videos on my Tuesday night. You go to my group called All Things Terri Sproul on Facebook. You put your page that is inspired by mine. What does that mean? Does that mean you have to do it exactly like mine? No. I don't believe in artists copying, well, you can copy other artists, but what I'm saying is you don't have to make it just like mine. If you're inspired to do something completely different, but I inspired you, you put that page on my group and I will pick a winner from that. Yeah, I think we're really close to being dry here. So you're going to put your pages on my group called All Things Terri Sproul. Okay, before I open this, let me show it to you. This is called charcoal, and this is from General, and it really is a powder. Let me show it to you. See that? It's a powder. It's charcoal. And this is a little scary, but it's really cool in the long run. Now, I actually have a brush that I keep specifically for my charcoal, and I have a big brush because I usually do canvases, so that's what I'm using. This is scary, guys. This is really scary. The very first time I did this, I thought this was the scariest thing I ever did, but it turns out so cool when you're done. So I'm dipping my brush into the charcoal, getting the fan out of the way so it doesn't blow everywhere, and I'm going to literally just put it right directly onto my page. I know, you're going, oh my God, Terri, you are ruining your page. You're covering your page. It's scary, but wait till you see the effect that you get from this. So don't be scared of this. I think, honestly, guys, I think this is my new favorite technique. I just think this is just the coolest technique. So I am going right onto my page, and you can scrub into it. You don't have to be gentle. You can really get it in there. So this is why we would need tooth, right? Because if I didn't have tooth, it would have nothing to grab onto. So is this scaring you all? Because I know it scared me the very first time I did it. I was like, oh my God, I've ruined my page.
You know, Terry, to me it reminds me of the old-fashioned scratch boards. Remember, you used to put color, then they
Mhm.
had black on top.
Yes, you can do that with oil pastels, by the way. Isn't that just the wildest thing? So it looks like my whole background's gone. It's like, where'd your leaf go? And where'd, your feather? It's gone. Pretty wild, huh? So once I get, as much as I want on the background, I do kind of wipe off the excess. And this is a messy process too, by the way. If you don't like to get dirty, this will not be a fun process for you. And definitely don't wear a white shirt. You
And
definitely
turn
want.
off your fan, your ceiling fan.
Yeah, because it's messy. But it's a fun messy. Okay. So now I have that all in my background, and I like that. I'm happy. Now, close my lid here so it doesn't get spilled or anything crazy like that. Now, you're going to take an eraser next. Now, this is a kneading eraser. I don't know if you guys have played with a kneading eraser yet, and they're just what they say. You need them. So you can pull it apart. And what's cool about a kneading eraser is it allows you to make shapes out of it, too. So if I wanted to have something really pointy, I can make a pointiness. Then you go in and you decide what you want to bring back out of this. Well, obviously, I want to bring my feather back out, so I'm going to grab my kneading eraser and I'm going to start racing that right on the feather. And what's cool about this part, and you can get these kneading erasers also at Dick Blick's, what's cool about this point is you can start taking your background and, like, say I want a real thin point, and I'm going to do this towards me just because it'll be easier for me. I can go in and start doing some really thin feathery type lines. See that? Now you do have to move the eraser because the chalk gets onto it. You move it to another cleaner spot and you do it, you keep. So I'm feathering that out. So again, it's all chalked up. I move it to another spot, clean spot. Now I have a clean spot to work with. Now you can actually come in with a regular eraser too if you really want to get in some deepness. But what's bad about the regular eraser is you're not going to get that shape that you can get out of the kneading eraser. So that's the difference. And you have to clean it also. So I get all my charcoal off where I want it off, using whatever I want, the kneading eraser or the other eraser. Okay, see that? Let me zoom in there for you because I got my zoom thingy working, so I got to do that. See how that's starting to erase out? Okay, it's kind of blurry. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. See that? See how I erase parts of it? Now in the background, say I want to have parts of it erased too. You can go in and do that part too. So you can erase whatever you want to erase or don't erase whatever you don't want to erase. Just go in and have fun with it. So on this one, I'll show you this one. This one's not done yet. On my owl, see the lines right there? That's part of my background that I'm pulling back out. Now I will zoom out on this. This is a full canvas. It's hard to get it all in there. But this is a canvas I'm doing with the exact same technique using the owl. But see the background where I pulled out just parts of it to give it some texture in the back. I'll show you that again when I have the face camera on. Okay, so I've gone in, pulled out what I want to pull out of my picture. Now you can go in with your soft pastels. Okay, remember these guys, soft pastels. And you can get these either at Dick Blick's or you can get your soft pastels at Michael's with your 40% off coupon. And I can take my soft pastels and now I can come in and start adding the color back in. This is hard for me to draw upside down, but you get the idea. So I can start bringing the colors that I want to bring back into my page. See how much they stand out against that black? Yeah, it is scary, huh? But it's a cool effect when you're done. I love it. I think, like I said, I really do think this is my favorite technique right now. I just love this idea. But you get really dirty. But you know how I feel about that. Happy hands or clean hands. Dirty hands or happy hands. So brought my feather back out. And I can go in and put my lines in over here that I want to write on. It's all looking good. And you can come in also with the like a pastel pencil if you want to get some, you know, more lines in, or say I want to bring out the center of this feather a little more. White pastel pencil is probably one of my favorites because you can go in and get some really good details. And the white, as you know, pops. And as far as also, as far as prizes going, if you do not have, say, pastels, but you were inspired by something else, you don't have to use the same products I do. I try to introduce you to new products all the time on my show. And this is the one I wanted to introduce you to tonight. So look at that already. Let me zoom in there. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. Look how awesome that looks. In no time. We've done that in like less than 20 minutes. We did that. Okay, now I want to put my quote in. And oh, let me give a winner out before we put my quote in, because we're going to finish this page in no time. Now, also remember, pastels. You need to spray your pastels. That's really important. So you need to spray when you're completely done. Don't spray until you are done, because you can't add on top of the cleaning. And also, I clean my hands. I know you can barely tell that this is no good anymore, but this is called Clean Hands, and it's called From Joy of Stamping. So I just rub this on my hands, and I have my hands clean in no time. I love his products. Okay, where's my quote? Oh, let me give the winner. That's what I was going to do. Winner from last week is Marilyn Mansky. Marilyn Mansky. So what you need to do, Marilyn, is send me your address. Oh, I got a question over on Barbara. Wow. What the hell was that?
It was for your winner. I started with a drum roll.
Oh! Marilyn Mansky is the winner. Sound effects. Now, how was that, guys? How do you like those sound effects? Barbara Rankin over on YouTube says, it's a very cool technique. I love how the pastels pop against the black of the charcoal. Me too. I think that's one of my favorite things about them. So, what if you don't want to put charcoal all over the page? Hold on, I can't read the whole thing. Can you mask it? Absolutely. You could. The other thing that you could probably do, Laura, is you could probably, oh, gesso all down the side there. You could probably mask it for sure, or you could even just put the gesso, the clear gesso, the tooth, remember that we talked about, in a certain area. So yes, you could do that. Good question, Laura. Thank you. Okay. I want to do my quote, and my quote is the wind beneath my wings. So I want to, where's my little, I'm going to do it in between these. So I need one more in here. So hold on here as I add one more. Okay, and I did that in purple, so let me add that purple. Perfect. I think I'm going to do this in green. The garlic lemon pepper, how yummy.
No, purple and green, if you add gold, it's the color of kings from New Orleans.
Ah.
Those three colors together, they always said was the color of kings.
And I'm just using the pastels to actually write, but you could come in with a pen if you want. Remember with the pan pastels, the bad part is you have to blow them. Okay, so V.
And actually, Terry, I just looked it up. In 1872, Mardi Gras chose those colors, purple, green, and gold, because they were the official colors of the Russian Grand Duke Alexis Alexandrovich Romanov.
Wow, what a name.
Now, how was that? Say that a few times after too much calamari.
Yeah, God.
Hey, at least I know when you come out to visit next, we can make calamari, because you like seafood.
I do.
Maybe we should do a cooking show.
That would be fun.
No wine for you.
Oh, you're no fun. God, take all the fun away from me. Now, see what I'm doing? I did the lines. See how I did those lines? And I'm actually putting my words in between the lines. And I'm going to run out of room to do the whole quote. The wind. How could I do this? The wind. I'm going to run out of room to do the whole quote.
I'm afraid with wine at a cooking show, you'd end up like the Galloping Gourmet. I wonder if anybody remembers him or if
I remember the Galloping Gourmet. He was friggin' funny as hell.
How about just a little wine, and then we'll cook it. How about a little more wine?
Yeah, everybody loved to watch him. Okay, so I'm putting in another line in there. Okay, so the wind beneath. My and then I think I'm going to put wings down here. Okay, so one more line. Thank you, Peggy. Wings. So, look at that. Now, I could come in to bring those letters out a little more with, say, the white pastel, just like we do with the, remember how we've done this with acrylic paints, where you bring in the white or the black, and this will help bring out those words a little more. See that? So you could come in and do a little more of that if you need to. See that? See all the difference automatically bringing that white in? Also, if you don't like to get dirty, here's another hint for you. Take a paper towel when you're working on this. And Joe kind of talked about this last week when you're working with pastels, how if you're putting your arm on the work, you'll have paint or charcoal or whatever you're working on. So you can, if you need to, put down like a paper towel or something and then work around if you don't like to get dirty. I don't necessarily care, as most of you know, but if you are one that will bother you, that's a real good hint.
Well, you are careful when you wear that long sleeve white chiffon blouse. Then you're definitely careful.
You know, it was funny too, because I had a white shirt on and I went, you know, I really should go change. The other thing with pastels, another really good hint, especially the pencils, you need to keep them sharpened, so have yourself a good eraser. for yourself so that you can erase as needed. And again, I would just continue to bring these letters out by bringing the white pen in. You don't have to do that, or you can. You guys don't need to watch all that. Okay, so there is my page. Now I will go outside and I will spray this with a clear finish, because right now this is all, if I go like that, I can peel it off. See that?
And if you get it wet, you're in big trouble.
That's right. So you do not want to get this wet, so you definitely want to take this outside and spray it. You do not want to spray it until you are completely happy with it. So I would finish my letters, and then I would go in and spray it, and then it would be completely done for me. So that's my lesson on charcoal.
If you thought water was bad for the witch in Oz, water on this would be worse.
Yes, it would make mud. It would be no fun at all. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to give it a few minutes here. I'm going to switch back cameras while we're waiting for questions. There I am again. And I'll show you my owl I'm working on. This is done with the exact same technique that I am doing right now. See that? Isn't he turning out cool? So let me bring that in close so you can see. I'm hitting one. See right there where I brought in the lines? I just took the eraser and just went across the page or across the canvas to bring those lines in.
Could you do that again with the sound? That was...
Oh yeah, being left-handed, you definitely smear everything. So you might definitely want to use that paper towel idea, or don't care and just have happy hands like I do. Okay, any other questions? Isn't that a cool technique? I love it. So that's how I did those owls, and you can definitely do all kinds of really fun stuff with this technique. So we expanded on what we did last week. We took pastels and we added chalk to them and acrylics. So you can definitely do, now you could have done also, you could do the pastels, the soft pastels over top of acrylic without doing that charcoal in between, by the way. But you definitely would need to put in the either the clear gesso or the ground for pastels, because you need something for the pastels to grab onto. Okay, so if you don't like the charcoal, if that's too dark for you, if that scares you, just leave that step out. Well, thank you. I think it came out really cool too. It is a really fun technique, Kathy. It really is. Kathy just said it really came out nice. Definitely need to try it. I have to admit, it's kind of one of my favorite techniques right now. Terry, do I have one for Joe? One for what, sweetie? One of the owls? Not sure what your question is, Kathy. Gorgeous. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate that. Oh, I love Tommy as a girl's name, by the way. Tommy Joe. That's cute. Okay, so if nobody has any more questions, I will let you go tonight. So again, if you want to put glazing medium and interference, I bought the glazing medium, the interference ones. Oh, good. Good, I'm glad. Also, just for an FYI, because I get this question all the time, where are all of my videos? All of my videos are on YouTube, and it's youtube.com/Terri Sproul, one word, Terri Sproul. And you are welcome to watch any of the old shows. And as far as that goes, if you want to do multiple shows and put multiple inspiration pages on my group page, it's absolutely fine. Do I have a question for Joe? I have lots of questions about Joe.
No, Kathy wonders if I'm ever going to share my video of me dancing in my pajamas.
Well, have you seen the one where we did the we have to find that, Joe, the flash dance a few years ago?
The flash mob?
Yes. Me and Joe did a flash mob a couple years ago. It was fun. We'll have to find that video and post.
We actually really have a good time together.
We do.
You know, now I just heard on NPR about someone made that movie Beyond the Bell about the TV show Saved by the Bell. And they were great on TV, but when they were off air, they hated each other. We love each other all the time.
You know, another one is the 70s show. Great on air, hate each other off air. Isn't that sad?
Because I think you and I talk at least every day, once a day at least.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Vicki. You know, honestly, Vicki just write, thank you, always learn something new. That's what I want to learn. Oh, and Chris, I'm so happy. Chris just says, incredibly impressive young lady. Chris. Thank you, Chris.
I wonder what channel he's watching. What young lady?
Bite me! God. And you wonder why I talk to him every day.
It's my dashing good looks.
It ain't for that. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much.
Good night, everybody.
Appreciate it. Talk to you all next week, next Tuesday. Bye.